Welcome to Me Time. Everybody needs a little me time, and I want to acknowledge you for taking a few minutes out of your time to join me today for me time. It's important to take a few minutes to yourself, so you get to acknowledge yourself for doing that today. And today is Thoughtful Thursday Me Time, and I'm Love Coach Heather Hundhausen, and we're going to talk about those nasty skeletons in your closet. As a powerful, world-changing woman, I know that catching a little time for yourself can be challenging. And I promise that I'm going to be delivering big info today on clearing those skeletons out of your closet. And I want to support you in decluttering that icky mess inside of you. So I help women like you who are struggling between being in control, that need to be in control, and surrendering to your own inner light so that you can create light everywhere that you go. You can be the light that fills up the shadow in the dark places. And the shadow in the dark places is exactly where those skeletons are going to hide. And that's what we're going to talk about today. For the next few weeks, I'm going to be doing these live Facebook videos to show you and help to show the world that self-love is the root of all healing, and not having it really is the root of all of our pain, tension, and problems and struggle. And that if we just come back into our own sense of self-love, then we're going to have these awesome, amazing, happy, and peaceful lives where we can be radiant and beautiful people who walk around happy. So today we're going to be talking about cleaning out the skeletons in your closet. Here's exactly what I'm going to share about. What are they and how did they get there in the first place? How do we find them? How do you find your skeletons and actually deal with them? How do they affect you in your everyday life? And then, of course, how the heck do you clean them out? So before we get started, I want to invite you to share this video with your friends and family. You can invite them into the Beautifully Authentic Facebook group, or you can ask them to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Beautifully Authentic, so that you can join me every day and get a little me time for you. And so if you'll just go ahead and ask them to join in, that'd be amazing. The more people that we have here on these live videos, the more interaction that we can have, and actually the easier it is for me to serve you. I got some pepper in my teeth. Okay, so if you have any questions, go ahead and write them down. You can put them in the comments, or you can save them for the end and then ask me the questions at the end. So we're going to get into cleaning the skeletons out of your closet. All right, so what are skeletons in the closet and how did they get there in the first place? Okay, so are you even familiar with your skeletons? So this is a really good first question. Do you know what your skeleton, like, do you know that they're even in there? Do you know what the crap is in the baggage that you're carrying around into all of your relationships and everything you do that's kind of screwing everything up for you? Are you aware of what that is, right? The first step is awareness. Usually the first step is always awareness. We're going to be finding out that more and more and more as we're going through this self-love journey. First step is awareness. So am I aware that I have skeletons in my closet? If I am totally freaking clueless that I have skeletons in my closet, here's a good place to start. I want to talk about shame. So shame is the feeling of either I'm not good, I did something wrong, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not following the rules and I'm going to get in trouble. It's that feeling of bad and wrong, feeling of like that punishment is going to happen if I do this thing. So a little bit of healthy shame is a good thing to have, because it's what keeps us belonging in our society. It keeps us being agreeable with each other. It keeps anarchy from happening. I mean, I guess there's some people who think anarchy would be a good thing, but in most cases, people want others to get along. So, and I'm definitely about creating peace in the world. And if we need anarchy to get to peace, that's a whole other topic. We're not getting into that. So I digress. So what is shame? So shame can be a healthy emotion. It can tell you that what you're doing is something that you are or you are not in integrity with yourself by doing. And when you feel it's itchy, it's like right here, when you find yourself like itching and scratching right here, that's usually where we hold our shame. It's also in your belly. So if you're itching and scratching, you can ask yourself, oh, what's so itchy and uncomfortable? What am I ashamed about? So that's one way to become awakened to your shame. And then toxic shame is something that's pervasive in our culture. We have what I would consider to be a shame culture, where we beat ourselves up when we don't do good enough. We have perfectionistic attitudes. Achievement is the end all be all. And on the road to achievement, we actually miss our lives. And that is toxic shame. Toxic shame is where I've been taught that if I have feelings at all, I'm bad and wrong. So if I feel sad, that's bad. If I feel scared, that's wrong. If I feel angry, there's something wrong with me. That's toxic shame, and it's absolutely not what I'm teaching. I'm teaching people how to actually feel these emotions fully, express them fully, and in a loving and productive way. Those feelings that they're like, quote, negative feelings are actually guideposts for us to lead us in knowing our true selves, knowing what we care about, what we believe in, knowing how we want to expand and how we want to get there. Those feelings are really, really important. So your skeletons in your closet are feelings of shame, the feelings of toxic shame, anything you're trying to hide. Stories from, hi, Reagan! Yeah, scratch your head and shake my, stories from childhood. So, I was such a bad child. Blah, blah, blah. We make up these stories about who we were. Okay, so here's a good one. My story is I was the perfect child. I was the good child. And so the shame was actually in the fear of failure. So I felt ashamed to fall down. I felt ashamed to fail. If I failed, that meant I wasn't lovable or I wasn't good enough. So I hide that shame, and instead of dealing with it, I actually just became very superior and operated on top of all that shame. And I got a lot of stuff achieved. I was really good. I did some really good things, which made me lovable. But really deep down underneath, I wasn't feeling lovable, and I wasn't achieving much at all because I was missing my life. Reagan says that her sister says when she scratches her head that she's nervous and shame when she scratches her scalp. And yeah, the fear of failure, right? I was just working with some clients yesterday on the fear of failure and how we have this culture and mentality of I need to achieve, right? So that could be one of your skeletons in the closet. We're going to get into some more of them. So here's an example. I was in a relationship once where there was shame in the middle of the relationship. And it wasn't until the two of us uncovered the shame that we were able to have an authentic and connected relationship. The opposite of shame is loving yourself. So when you love yourself completely, you actually you still feel the shame, but it doesn't run you anymore. The loving absolutely shines light on the shame. So it's like shining the light on the shadows, pulling the skeletons out of the closet and taking a look at them and going, wow, look, I have this skeleton in my closet. So when you deal with your skeletons, you realize who you are, and you aren't just spending all of your time trying to cover up all of the shame from the past. So how do we find, that's crazy you mentioned Scratchy, I never realized. You're welcome, Reagan, no problem. We're gonna get into all of that today, it's fun. So how do we find the skeletons is exactly what Reagan is saying. Where's the pain in your body? So where are you itching and scratching? Where are you like, oh, that's really uncomfortable? That's a really good place to find out where some of your skeletons are. Another place to find out where your skeletons are, look at what you're trying to avoid in your life. What about yourself are you trying to hide so that nobody else will find out about them? Those are your skeletons. Where are you afraid to look? If your relationship is suffering, then the skeletons you're hiding are probably like, I'm not lovable. If your business is suffering, the skeletons you could be hiding could be, I'm not worthy, I don't feel valuable, I don't feel deserving. If your parenting is suffering, the skeletons could be from your own childhood. Maybe you got abandoned and you felt neglected and not taken care of, or maybe it's the other spectrum where you got smothered and controlled and you didn't have any sense of freedom. So both of those things can cause us to feel like we need to hide something, like we're not good enough. So the third part here, how do the skeletons affect us in our everyday life? You just saw a couple examples in the parenting, the business, and the relationships, but when we hide anything, we can't be open. So when we're not open, what are we? We are closed down. And then when you're closed, what's happening is your body is literally holding tension. It's like literally restricted. And then you feel the need to have the tension be released. And oftentimes what happens is that we release that tension towards a loved one and we end up blaming them so that we don't have to feel it. That's not good, because blame is one of the horsemen of the apocalypse. It ruins relationships. Some of us try to cover up our skeletons. Like I was telling you in the previous example, like where I just became the best. I became very righteous, and it made it very hard for other people to be in relationship with me. So I learned and learned and learned and learned and learned so that I would know more than you. And I would use it against you. And so this is good because, see, there's the shame. So this is good because I am now a coach, and I can use these years and years and years and years of knowledge to support people, but I also have the wisdom of realizing that I don't want to be superior and righteous, that I do also make mistakes and have failures. And, you know, in order to be in a relationship with someone, it's really about seeing them and allowing them to be their fully expressed self. At the same time, I'm allowing me to be my fully self-expressed self. Didn't sound right. So here's an example of how the skeletons can affect us. You guys probably could think of, you know what, if you can think of a way that your skeletons are affecting you in your life, go ahead and put it in the comments. You know, what skeletons are you hiding, you know, after listening to what we've talked about a little bit? Are you aware of what they are? I mean, even if you're aware of what your skeletons are, you could even just say, yes, I know my skeletons, if it's too vulnerable to share them. So here's an example. You can be thinking of an example of how your skeletons get in your way, but here's an example. So a couple is getting divorced, and we're going to focus on the wife because she's relatable. So she's mad that her husband cheated on her, and that's why they're getting divorced. Okay, so instead of owning that she's terribly wounded and she's terribly sad and that she's feeling really abandoned because the person that she trusted has left her alone, instead of owning that maybe she's a nagging, controlling, self-righteous, superior bitch, I'm not telling a story that I'm familiar with, if you can tell. So instead of owning who she is, she takes all that tension of that insecurity and that not lovable, and she throws it at him, and she's mad at him for doing this to her. And when we do that, we put ourselves in the place of a victim, because we're not owning our skeletons. We put ourselves in the place of victim. We throw that over at somebody else and we blame them. So this is how your skeletons can get in the way. So she starts blaming him for being a cheating asshole, and then she tries to get revenge for her pain, which really is from her own skeletons, but she doesn't know that yet. So she tries to take her pain and put on him instead of just allowing her to be with her own pain, let it pass through her and operate from a clean slate, from a what's next place, from a place of possibility and a place of creating something new. So you can't create something beautiful when you're holding tension. You're just creating more tension. And when you're withholding, when you're holding tension, withholding means I'm not in relationship with you anymore, and that's actually another one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. So bad, bad, bad. We don't want to hold anything. If you find yourself holding, you can take a look at that. There's probably a skeleton there that you want to look at. Or if you find yourself blaming, you're probably also trying to avoid a skeleton. Okay, so here's the part we're all waiting for. How the heck do we clean this stuff out? How do we get rid of these skeletons? Okay, well, it's not going to happen today in one moment. I mean, it could. Everything, miracles are possible, and it could happen in one moment. And it actually does happen in one moment a lot of times during hypnosis. But you have to do something in order to have it happen. Well, maybe not. Maybe you could just have a miracle happen, and it could happen also. Oh, Reagan, I love that I'm opening your eyes so much. It's so good. Okay, so how do we clean out our skeletons? Okay, journaling. Journaling, 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 write it down, write it down, write it down, write it down. How many people know that they're supposed to journal and they don't? Right? That happens. How many people know that they're supposed to journal and they do, and then they go, oh my God, I just found out so much about myself, right? Journaling is so important because we have all this like mess going on in our minds all the time, clittering, clatter, like all these different thoughts. When you get it down on paper and you see it in front of you, it's almost like, does anybody ever go to bed at night and they're like, oh my God, I have so many things to do tomorrow, and you literally can't sleep because you're thinking of all the things you have to do? But if you just took a piece of paper and you wrote down like the 10 or 12, or maybe it's 20, like maybe it's a lot of things, but you write it down and you set it next to the bed, you're like, oh, and you can go to sleep. Journaling is like that. So we have all this discomfort, we have all this shame, we have all this crap that we're avoiding, we're blaming others, we're being a big victim, we're withholding, we're restricting, we have body pain, all this crap is happening and we're not getting it out. Like, journaling is the easiest way to get it out if you want to just do something for yourself, okay? Hypnosis sessions, hands down, in my opinion, the best way to clear out the skeletons. So you come in and you say, I don't care if you work with me or you work with any hypnotist, like, just do the work, you know? So you come in and you say, okay, I'm experiencing in my relationship that I don't feel lovable. And then what we do is we go back to the time in childhood when you first believed that you weren't lovable. Then we reprogram that by doing all kinds of awesome things, because I'm a parenting instructor for all of these years. So I teach you how to love yourself and also how to parent yourself. And you have this amazing new experience in your 5-year-old brain that now you can live out as an adult. And you realize, wow, that's my skeleton. And as one of my clients said, like, the whole reason I'm doing this cleaning the skeletons out of the closet thing is because one of my clients, when she finished a 6-month coaching program with me, she literally said, Heather, it's like we went in the closet, we took all the skeletons out, we looked at them, we said, oh, that's that skeleton, and that's the, and she goes, and then I put them back in, now they're like in there in this like nice color cord. I open the closet, I go, there are my skeletons, and they're all like nicely color coordinated. She's like, I realize you can't get rid of them, but now I know them and I'm able to embrace them, and that makes me able to embrace who I am, and I don't have any shame about who I am anymore. It kept me from journaling, wait, I don't journal because my mom used to journal incessantly. I don't want to be like her. How ironic and cyclical, right? This is, oh my God, so that's like one of my, yes, embrace your skeletons. That's like one of mine, right? So my parents were like, you need to make money. You need to make money. Money's important. And I was like, I will never make money, and I will prove to them that I'm worth it without money. That was a really bad, it was a really bad decision. It was like really shooting myself in the foot. You need money to survive, you know? And I realize that I'm valuable and I'm worthy. Whether I have money or whether I don't have money, it doesn't matter, and I don't need to prove it to them. That's their problem, not mine. So yeah, it's funny, right? So, okay, what else can we do? Visualization sessions. So if you're really good at visualizing, or if you like meditation with visualization, if you can kind of do self-hypnosis and walk yourself through visualization, that's another thing you can do. You can literally take yourself into your own darkness and ask your higher self, like, show me where my junk is. I personally believe we need others to help us see our shadow. I think that's why relationships are like amazing. And I think that's also why so many people struggle with relationships, because your relationship is like your ultimate mirror. Like, if you want to know where your shit is, be in relationship with someone, or be a parent. Those people will show you. You know, and that's why people struggle in relationships, because you have so much shame about who you are. You don't want somebody else pointing it out to you. God forbid they do that. So hey, there's another way to clean your skeletons out. Get in a relationship. Okay, so also inner child work. I love inner child work. It's my favorite, because my inner child will always tell me if she's having a temper tantrum about something, or she'll tell me if she thinks I'm a stupid asshole about something. That's like the teenager. But the little one is so sweet. She's like, can't we just pet the cat for 5 more minutes? Don't you love me? And so that's fun too, because then the overachiever, you know, is like, no, we have to do things. And the inner child is like, can't we just pet the cat for 5 more minutes? So, you know, there's a balance there. And then energy work is another way of cleaning out the skeletons. It's really like this, like I'm telling you guys, it's really good to have someone else with you to work on your skeletons, because we are super good at denial and repression and like not looking at this stuff, and a lot of times it takes another person to work with. So energy workers can also feel where all of your stuff is backed up, and they can also help you to they can also help you to clear that out. Yes, kitty cat, hashtag kitty cat, Reagan. I'm so glad you're here playing with me today. Thank you. Okay, so right, I told you about my client who she said, you know, we looked at all the skeletons. So that's kind of where this whole thing came up with. So let me recap today real quick. This is what we talked about. 1, feel your shame. Be aware, know where your own skeletons are. Number 2, feel the tension in your body. Feel and figure out where you're hiding your shame. Where are you restricting? Where are you in denial? Number 3, choose not to hold that tension. Choose not to project it onto others. Choose not to hold it inside of you. Instead, choose to feel your pain. Don't be subjected to this toxic shame culture where you're not allowed to feel. Allow yourself to feel. And number 4, find somebody to work with or do your journaling. Use your tools so that you can organize your skeletons nicely in the closet. You can know who they are. You can be familiar with yourself and say, yep, that's my crap, and I love me anyway. So as I told you, everything comes back to self-love. This is another place where tension and body pain and relationship issues, it comes back to self-love. If I love me and I'm okay with all of my skeletons and all my shame, then I'm easier to be in relationship with and things work more smoothly. Yes, you can allow yourself to feel it. Yes, feel the tension. Yes, Reagan. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so self-love exercise. Go out and play. Yes, that was from earlier this week. That was actually one of the homework assignments. So here's another homework assignment. So actually really quickly before we do homework assignment, if you guys like this video, please share it. Invite your friends into the Facebook, Beautifully Authentic Facebook group. If you're watching this video on YouTube, subscribe to the Beautifully Authentic YouTube channel. Share, share, share. We want to get the message of self-love out into the world. We want everybody feeling loved. And when you feel loved, then you actually start living in your purpose. And then we start doing what we're here and we're meant to be doing. And then that feels really good and really joyful. And then we're creating peace on the planet. So join me in doing that by sharing. Your friends will thank you for inviting them in here. And let's do a little body pain, a little homework. Okay, so the homework is feel your body pain. Okay, so Thoughtful Thursdays, we're always going to be bringing it either back to your body, mind, quantum physics, how your mind is creating your reality, right? All of this is all happening in your mind and your body. So we're going to start by feeling your body pain. Go into it. Find out where your tension is. Do not avoid it. If you aren't experiencing any tension right now, then later in the day when you do experience some tension, or maybe tomorrow, take a moment, check it out. What triggered it? What brought the pain on? See if you can figure that out. What is your body telling you? The way you'll know what your body's trying to tell you is to talk about it or write about it, like journaling I said earlier, okay? So like here's an example. If my foot hurts and I talk about my foot pain, it might sound something like this. Boy, it sure hurts to take a step forward, and then when I stop suddenly, I feel even more pain. Okay, so in that example, we would see that the person is having some kind of tension in their life about moving forward, but even more tension about stopping suddenly. So maybe I would ask that person, okay, do you have a habit from switching from one career to another, or one relationship to another, or one business to another without completing the first one first? Are you in the middle of another one of these transitions and you're tired of doing this transitioning? You're afraid you're going to stop. You really want to move forward. Something like that, right? Just the way that you talk about your pain will tell you what's happening subconsciously and psychologically, emotionally, spiritually for you. Did that make sense? If that made sense, give me some thumbs up and see if anybody in here, if you have body pain, go ahead and just write it in the comments. And I'm happy to even like get into conversation with you about what your body pain might be telling you so that you can start in on this homework. Okay, so of course, if you're wanting more information on exactly how to do this right now, You can work with me one-on-one. I have a couple of spaces left for one-on-one coaching clients. I will be creating workshops over the summer to teach about self-love. Those will be live workshops. I am declaring that we're going to be doing them in South Florida. There's going to be one in Colorado, I think Portland, San Diego, and somebody was saying something about New Mexico, Sedona, and then so many people I know are moving to Phoenix. So I'm going to do this whole like countrywide tour over the summer. So if you want to be in one of those cities with me, you know, keep it in your mind. Let's make declarations together. Let's do awesome workshops together. Let's learn amazing things about ourselves, love ourselves and each other. And we'll be doing that this summer. And Reagan has a weird pain in her tooth. When you first go to eat and then it goes away, no cavity, it's weird. Dagmar has neck pain. Okay, so you guys are both like teeth and mouth. So this is all about being able to communicate, being able to effectively communicate in your life. The neck pain, depending on where the neck pain is, it could be about like speaking your truth. It could also be about holding, burdening, carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. You have too much burden and not enough boundaries. Ooh, that'd be a cool topic, right? Too much burden and not enough boundaries. If somebody wants to type that in to the comments, that'd be awesome. Okay, so other than the live summer workshops, I am also going to be creating like a little mini self-love workshop. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. There's going to be more on that soon, where me and my team are creating that now. And as always, I love you guys. Thank you for joining me. Too much burden and not enough boundaries. Yes, thank you for writing that in there. And then the tooth pain is when I first go to eat. I want you to say more about that, Reagan. Like, I want to hear more about the languaging you're using to describe that pain. So go ahead and write it in the comments and I'll reply to you. I'll reply to you later. Yes, I love you guys too. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for inviting your friends and family. Thank you for trusting me to spread this message. I just really appreciate you. And the more people that we can share this with, the more peace we can create on the planet. So share. And stick with me, because me time is important. You deserve it. And I'll see you again later. Okay, bye guys.